If you're interested in finding out what Evan-Moor resource I wish I had started using years ago, stay tuned. Hi everybody, welcome back to Project Happy Home. For those of you who are new here, I'm Tanya, a doctor, lawyer turned homeschool mom of 3 kids ages 13, 10, and 8. I do a lot of videos here on secular homeschooling, raising a child with ADHD, and living a more essentialist, organized life. So if any of that is of interest to you, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below the video. It really does help boost the channel, and I appreciate your support. For those of you who followed my channel for a long time, you know that I've been an Evan-Moor fan since the very beginning, 7 years ago when we started homeschooling. I can't think of a single year that I haven't used Evan-Moor products in my homeschool, and there are some workbooks especially that I just love, and I continue to put my children through them through grade K, 1, 2, and so on and so forth. There's other workbooks that I love for resource materials where I only pull a few pages at a time, particularly if we're doing a unit study in one area or another. I wish I had used Evan-Moor's Teacher File Box ages ago because it would have made my life so much easier and so much cheaper in the long run because it allows you to organize your teaching tools for your students in a very streamlined fashion. You can actually try a free trial of this before I get into it. For 14 days for free, there's no credit card required. All of that information will be linked in the description box down below. But I will be going through the website with you just to show you some of the features and how you can navigate it. Before we get into the teacher file box though, I just wanted to remind you that if you want to see more day in the life type of content, please be sure to follow me on Instagram. I share a lot of the games we play, the field trips we go on, random learning activities that we pepper in throughout our days. And I talk a lot about just motherhood and like the struggles of homeschooling on a day-to-day basis and the joys of it as well. So be sure to follow me. It's at Project Happy Home on Instagram as well. Now let's head on over to the Evan-Moor website where I will try to navigate the website for you because I know for myself, part of the reason I didn't start using Teacher FileBox earlier was because it was a little bit intimidating to me to find the resources I needed. And it's actually much simpler than I thought it was. So let's go over and see. Now, for those of you who haven't had that much experience with it or haven't heard of it before, what exactly is the Teacher File Box? It is almost exactly what it sounds like. It is a digital repository of the majority of Evan-Moor's educational publications. Some of their most recent publications may not have made it on there yet, but you definitely have an opportunity to check and see if they're on there because they offer that 14-day free trial. And again, like I said, that trial will be linked in the description box down below, so you can head there to find it. It's no credit card required, so there's no risk and, there's no automatic subscription or anything, so I appreciate that. All right, you guys, so when we get on the Teacher File Box page, you have a little menu here that gives you a lot of tips. It tells you how to browse by title, different search tips, how to organize your file box. I'll talk a little bit more on that later, but it gives you an organizational mechanism of folders where you can organize information by topic area, by grade level, really by whatever you wish. You can create subfolders under it too, which is exciting. And then there's a content overview of what type of printables you have. You can actually set your own preferences for different things as well. If you go to the content overview, you'll see here it tells you exactly what types of topic areas are available to you. So for example, everything from English, social studies, early learning, math, arts, science, SEL. Like I said, the bulk of Evan-Moor's publications are available to you. On that same main page, there is a video here that will show you specifically how to search by keyword, grade level, subject area, or by standard. For example, if you are in a district that requires you to teach certain standards, this website makes it incredibly simple to do that. If you scroll down on the page, you'll notice that one of the first things on the website are homeschool resources. So there's various different subject areas listed. There's also a section on how to use Teacher FileBox. So when you click on that, you actually get to a video that they show you how to use it. So you have different things like how to search in Teacher FileBox, etc., and different features of it. But we'll go through some of that together right now. If you want to search generally by subject area, you can click on any one of these subject areas. So for example, let's say we wanted to search in science. When you click on that, several science resources will open, like using skill sharpeners, using the daily science, using science works, etc. There's also a science curriculum guide. I do encourage you to check out the curriculum guides by Evan-Moor because they are remarkably comprehensive. So for example, if we click on this guide, you'll see all the different workbooks they offer and a description on the right of what's actually in the different workbooks. So you can kind of get an idea of which workbook might be best suited to your child at their level in this particular school year. Okay, you guys, so let's say I know exactly what book I'm looking for. For example, in our family, we're huge fans of the daily science books. I can just head up here to browse by title. And when you click on that, you'll see this little alphabet chart, and I can just head to the D because I know it starts with daily science. And when I do that, you'll see a whole host of their daily books pop up. Everything from sixth grade writing to higher order thinking, language review, math practice, paragraph editing. We're huge fans of these as well. And here's the daily science. So let's say I wanted to add fourth grade daily science resources. When I click on it, every single unit of that teacher's edition opens. The teacher's edition, in case you don't know, includes the answer keys as well as little teaching instructional guides. Let's say I was particularly interested in the Grand Canyon or volcanoes. I can click just on that volcano unit, preview it, see if it's really what I want to talk about with my child, what I want them to review, see every single page that's available to me to print within that unit, and also the answer key. It just pops that right in there for you. And I can go scroll down. I can select exactly which pages I'm interested in printing. So for example, let's say I only want to print the student worksheets. That would be days 1 through 5. I can go ahead and head down here and print them all. Or I can actually project them. Project is typically a feature I think most people think of as useful for classroom teachers, but if you use it at home, it saves you a little bit of time for printing. So for example, if you can see here, it opens up the page and it gives you this little menu down here where you have the opportunity to draw, mark things. I think you have to be on the actual page here, but you can also label. If you go to text here, you have the option of handwriting it in, particularly if you have a pen or a pencil, but you could write down things right here so you could label things like crust and core. And you know, it might not be perfectly centered. I think I would have to mess with that a little bit. But once you get it going, it saves you from having to print it, and you can evaluate whether your children understand the information or not. It also gives them an opportunity to practice typing. So there's so many things you can do with that project feature. You can also share it to a Google Classroom page. I know some homeschoolers who actually do use Google Classroom to set up assignments for their children, so it gives you that opportunity. There's other ways of looking up units with common tags, as well as the original title of this book. If I clicked on this, it would take me to the Evan-Moor page to purchase that book, but I can also go down here and it'll show you other units that might be of interest to me in that book. Another feature that's really, really useful for Teacher FileBox is making a file box. The reason they call it this is not only because they have all of their resources organized, it's because they give you the opportunity to organize resources in a way that makes sense for you. So when I click on my file box, I have the option of creating folders within folders, for example. Let's say I want to create inside the fourth grade folder, I want to create a science folder. I can go ahead and do that. And let's say inside the science folder, I want to create a volcanoes folder. I can do that. And now that folder has nothing in it, but let's say I wanted to add this unit. I can click on the plus right below the unit, go ahead into my fourth grade folder. This says fourth grade geo, unfortunately, but you can edit that later. And then I wanted to add in the volcano. I wanted to put this volcano lesson into my volcano folder. I just click add to folder, and now you'll see it in there. So if I click on fourth grade geo, click on fourth grade science, and then click on my volcano folder, there it is, my lesson right there. Easy peasy for me to use. It'll tell you when I added it. I can open it out to just see a little detailed view of it. I can print, project, or preview it right from my file box. So it really saves you a lot of time in terms of planning and creating unit studies, etc. Everything can be in one place for you. Another way of searching, though, is let's say that I was more interested in just finding volcano resources. I don't know that, daily science exists. I don't want to go through book by book. I want to add in other types of activities that might not be science related. I just want to create a unit study with opportunities to practice different skills, but centered around the same topic. I can just search for volcanoes. Now, this is really cool, you guys, because watch what pops up. 5 units are found on volcanoes, and you have them coming from different books. You'll see here I've limited it to grade 3 because that was what I was searching for most recently, but I can actually pull this to grade 4 if I wanted. So I can create a window from like grade 3 to 4, or I can just make it grade 4. And when I limit it to grade 4, you'll see they found 14 units that deal with volcanoes. So let's say I wanted to check out the critical thinking lesson. You have storms, earthquakes, and volcanoes. This comes from the book Skill Sharpeners, Critical Thinking, I imagine, for grade 4. And it'll tell you right here, this unit, if you wanted to print it, is 18 pages. I can click on it to preview. And again, look at every single page that I wanted to. And as you can see here, this is a color resource, and you can print them in color if you wanted to, or again, you could project it. And the reading, for example, they could do right here. They could actually put it on highlighter, put it on yellow or maybe orange, and go ahead and highlight as they're reading. So again, you don't have to print if you don't want to. You can type in little notes if you wanted. And it's just a great little resource. You can also print right here with your highlighting or your annotation or your answers. I forgot to mention that when we did the workbook, but that's a great little feature. And if I wanted to, I could add this into my volcano unit. So just to show you again, I would click that. I would open this out. I would open out my science folder and click it into volcanoes and add it. And it's just such an easy tool to organize all of your materials. So after I go through and do all my research and figure out what units I want in my folder, I can head to my folder and do all my printing at once. Some people have a little bit of hesitation with TeacherFileBox because they want to print the entire book at once. Honestly, it just takes a little bit of extra effort to find the units you actually want to use. Go ahead and put them all in one folder. You can label your folder by the title of the workbook if you wanted, and then go print it all out at once. It's not a big deal at all. If you go to the Recommendations tab, that will show you some things that Evan-Moor is suggesting to you, perhaps based on your grade level or on your most recent searches. Okay, so when I open up this page, what I see here is May Day, Children's Day in Japan, Cinco de Mayo. These are all upcoming holidays, so they're recommendations. It also says here, because I searched the tag handwriting floral earlier, it's giving me another cursive page because I tagged a cursive page on cats. So it's giving me another idea. You also have trending tags down here. So things that you might not have thought of, like, oh, look, I forgot that my child hasn't been studying compound words, etc. I can go ahead and search that and see what pops up. And they also give you some popular units down here that people have been searching. So like pull tab books, shape books, things that you might not have realized Evan-Moor even has will pop up here for you. There's also a homeschool tips section. And when you go down there, that's where you want to head if you have questions about how to use TeacherFileBox, how to search, what types of resources are available to you within these different subject areas. So for example, if I click on Language Arts Phonics and I click on that curriculum guide, you will see the different books that are available, different videos on exactly how to use these different books. That's really invaluable information. And if you have any frequently used questions, it'll take you to all of the customer service questions like getting started, how the lesson planner works. It's really useful to use the lesson planner because if you wanted to have recurring lessons, you can pull them straight in. So you'll see here a little calendar when you go to lesson planner. You can organize it by the month, by week, etc. You can see it this way. So let's say I wanted to add specific lessons here. I can actually set it as a time. I can pull different lessons from my folder. So let's say I wanted to pull this spring flowers lesson and I wanted to add this one. So I've assigned this lesson to this day and it can just pop in there into the lesson planner. So I have to give it a title. Let's say this is the spring banner. Let's say activity, so I know that it's an activity. I can give it a color because it's an activity and save it, and you'll see it's popped up right here into my monthly view. If I put it into my week view and go back here, you'll see it there as well. And if I click on my day view, it'll be it's right there at the time that I assigned it. If you wanted to print this, you could, and all you would have to do is print on that activity. So you could just click it and it would print just that activity. If I wanted to print the entire lesson plan, I could as well by going down here to print version. So it has this built-in feature for you, particularly if a lot of your resources are coming from Evan-Moor. That makes it really simple. That being said, let's say you're doing lessons that aren't in Evan-Moor. You can actually just click into this and write down what you're doing. So let's say we're doing a read aloud. You can type in read aloud, you can put in whatever the title of your read aloud is. You can set a time for that, probably not 1 a.m. in the morning. Let's say it's going to be at 3 p.m. as well. So then we just save that. It's not in any curriculum, but if you scroll down, there you go. There's your read aloud. So when you print that, you can put in all of your different assignments as well, not just Evan-Moor assignments from Teacher FileBox, but almost anything. And you can actually create it as a recurring task. Let me show you how to do that. So let's say we wanted to put in at 1 p.m. We always do our history activity, for example. We could go ahead and put that in, and all you have to do is click recurring, and it'll say every one day, every weekday. Let's say we do it every weekday. It's not going to end, but we can end it at the end of the school year if we wanted, and hit save. And there you go. That'll be there on every single day now. So see on the 26th, on the 27th, it really is an incredibly useful tool all in and of itself. So you guys, I hope that was helpful. I really wish I had used Teacher FileBox earlier in my homeschool career. When I was a young, new homeschooler, younger, new homeschooler, this would have been so helpful to me, not only because it's very economical at $129 a year, it's also very well organized. So as a new homeschooler in particular, I might not have known to search for, cursive activities at the same time that I was doing a unit study on flowers. But if I search the topic area of flowers here, all of those different resources come up, and it makes creating that unit study a robust, fleshed out type of study around one topic really easy to create and organize for future kids. Because if you continue with your Teacher FileBox subscription, what happens is you already have your unit study all organized and ready to go to print in this folder for you. You may not have had to buy, for example, a science notebook, a cursive notebook, a reading comprehension notebook, just to get all of those different skills. You got it all in one already. If you compare the price of the subscription to the price of the individual workbooks, particularly if you have multiple children, this is really a no-brainer in terms of value. So I think it's a great service and a great resource for you to look into. If you have multiple kids who don't actually want to do the entire workbook, a lot of people complain like, oh, I bought this workbook and we only did 3 chapters of it and we never got to around to the rest. And you feel like you wasted that money, and I can understand that. Here, you don't feel like that because you can really focus in on what your child needs to learn, where they are, and create that differentiated instruction. That is one of the bedrocks and wonderful things about homeschooling, right? For all of us, like we can hone in on what our kid needs to learn and what our kids need to practice at right then. There are some 2023 resources that have been added to Teacher FileBox recently. Now, like I mentioned, their most recent resources generally have a little lag time before they hit Teacher FileBox, but if they have it, I wanted to show you it because it's actually a really nice book that I hope I get the chance to review at some point. This is the Financial Literacy and Lessons and Activities. They're brand new, and let's say we went to grades 6 through 8. You'll see they have a lot of different things like earning money at a job, making and following a budget, making and taking out loans, making money in investments. So if you click on investments here, you can see here they have a little unit on it, and it's really a great resource, particularly in the financial literacy space. I feel like we're always like grasping at resources, and a lot of the resources that are available are a little bit outdated. So this has vocabulary words, reading assignments, again, like a vocabulary activity here about what dividends mean, what percentages are, etc. Concepts of what a share is. There's like a little opportunity to writing assignment about starting a business, like what kind of business you would open, risk and reward exercises. This is really a wonderful resource. So I just wanted to point that out in the midst of the Teacher FileBox video because I can't help myself. So I hope this has been of some value to you guys. Like I said, I wish I had started using it ages ago. I fully plan on creating a whole bunch of folders for my upcoming school year so that I'm all set to go. And in all likelihood, I will just continue using this year after year because I think it is a resource that a lot of us have been sleeping on and we shouldn't have been. So again, you guys, I realize your time is valuable. Thank you so much for joining me and listening to my explanation of Teacher FileBox. If you're interested in checking it out for yourself, remember there is a free 14-day trial that you can sign up for. I will link that in the description box down below. And you can also use my affiliate link to sign up for Teacher FileBox if you are interested. I always appreciate when you use my affiliate links. It really does help keep me motivated to keep making videos for you, and it does help boost my channel, so I appreciate it. But again, thank you so much for spending some time with me, and I wish you the very best day.